Okay, so this one is for Jim and everybody else who watches. That's the door you go through to enter the fish room. And then I stand there with my back turned around. This is it. 12 feet by 12 feet for those who either have or used to have a queen. For the rest of us, it's basically 350 by 350. And on the left is the Xingu tank with 2 oddballs in it, 2 Heckel females which have been beaten to a pulp by a third one. And then below the Xingu tank there are 2 empty fry raising tanks and another 2. The one with the lights on it holds the F1 Heckel fry who have just been fed, so the water is slightly murky. And the one next to it holds the smaller ones of the F1 Heckel fry. I generally tend to separate the larger ones from the smaller ones, allowing the latter to catch up a little bit with their growth. And then further to the right there's a 900 litre tank, which I don't like filling up to the top because it's quite old, so I try to keep the pressure at the base pretty low with a monster plant with its root into the aquarium. And on the left hand side of the absolutely nasty divider is a pair of fish, namely the Xingu male in the corner and the Rio Negro female over there, with a bunch of fry which are probably 6 days free swimmers or something like that. On the other side of the divider are the Heckels that spawned a couple of times and who are the parents of the F1 I just showed you earlier, watching over another batch of eggs which haven't really turned out really well, but that's alright because at least I don't have to raise another batch of Heckels from a pair I did not even intend to breed right away. And they have a huge pothos plant. The top of the tank is at about 185, so 6 feet plus. That's the root zone. Massive sponge at the back, which is over the intake of the tiny, wrapped in a rug, Aheim filter that does the filtration for the main tank and the other Heckel breeding tank, which was intended to be a Heckel breeding tank, except that the pair A Heckels have not spawned since I've put them in here. But everything is there except, I don't know, berry white playing in the tank, fine sand, breeding corn, branch, oak leaves, roots hanging in, nice water coming in, and these two are circulated together, so they're essentially in the same water. In the corner, weighing next to nothing, Xingu F2 male with Xingu F2A male with Xingu F3B female. They produce shit fry, so I'm going to separate them. There are way too many issues with the offspring, so this was their last attempt, and of course the results of their last attempt are going to end up in the freezer. Right in front of the window there are a couple of shelves with my girlfriend's mainly Hoya plants. One is it's the Raqueta, Linearis, Densifolia. Some of them we've just acquired recently. I think she has 67 Hoya species at the moment. And then there's the workbench with 2 sideways aquariums with more Hoyas acquired recently, acid, frozen food which I left here, bits and bobs, and then lots of spare stuff underneath, salt, filter housings from my previous RO projects, buckets. And then turning further to the right, I don't know if the tank will fit in the upright camera or telephone, but That's a 1000 liter aquarium, 8 feet long, so that's 240 by 70 by 62 tall, I think. So it's 8 by 2.5 by 2 feet, 1000 liters. Again, with just a tiny filter on it. Well, that's another one attached to the airheim. I don't even know what that is. It's got 2 holes drilled in the side, and the water level is about there. So it's a closed loop again, with my green discus coming from the Rio Japurá, whichever way the J at the beginning of the word is pronounced in the Portuguese Brazilian. I've got a few nice and spotted ones. I've got one that has even more spots, but obviously they will never show their sides to the camera. I've got 10 of them in there, and obviously plants growing into the water again. And I'm trying my absolute best to keep the pH in this tank as low as possible. Not because that's any sort of prescription, but at least that's something that keeps the fish from breeding. For the very simple reason that apart from that 350 liter tank, which is temporary, holding the siphos from our garden pond, and the other one in the corner which I use for water prep for the big ones, and these 4 tanks in here, I haven't really got much more space for growing out fry. So greens, no matter how nice they are not going to breed for a while yet. They're quite big though. I got them about 2 years ago, and they were maybe 7.5, 8 centimeters, so about 3 inches in size. What else? Well, not much. Got a bit of black mold in the corner. I've got a big air pump in the loft, which I'm not using at the moment, but I can, once the plants move outside, I will have another rack of tanks right in the middle, perpendicular to the window, and that's going to hold 3 times 360 liters. Plus there's a small bathroom on the other side of this wall where I can put a few more barrels in, 200 liter ones like those, heavily insulated, which I can use for water prep once these fry, and maybe those fry, and hopefully fry from my F1A Xingu pair, which this one and that one will need lots of water for growing out. These two, believe it or not, were born in June 2011, so they are literally 10.5 years old plus, and the female is still pretty much ready, and they spawned last year, but there was something wrong with the water, so I could not breed them. The Heckels, Rio Negros, coming from the group of 10 originally. These are the 2 that the queen in the corner gave really good beatings to, so I decided to move them out. And well, that's pretty much it. If all goes well, this fish room is going to be shut down maybe towards the end of the summer, and I'm going to move into another space twice this size, which can only happen if people turn up to buy my fish. Otherwise I will have bred them for the freezer again, and then I guess I'll just keep one tank with a bunch of fish of, I don't know, maybe I keep the Heckels or the Xingus, I haven't decided yet, and then shut everything down. No, that's pretty much it, I guess. Yeah, have a good one.